Hi everyone, you're with Tesla Tom, and thanks for joining us on Ludicrous Feed. Some of you may be aware that there is currently an Australian Senate inquiry looking at the usage and manufacture of electric vehicles in this country via the Parliamentary Select Committee on Electric Vehicles. There are over 100 submissions publicly available on the Parliament of Australia website, which I will provide the link for in the description below. Today we're going to focus on the submission made by the Australian Electric Vehicle Association. Just quickly, thank you once again to our loyal supporters for making this channel what it is today. If you'd like to stay up to date with our latest videos, go ahead and click on that red subscribe button. The Australian Electric Vehicle Association was established in 1973 as a not-for-profit volunteer-run organisation dedicated to the promotion of electric vehicle technology. The AEVA seeks to educate and inform the public about all forms of electrified transport on land, sea, air, both public and private, recreational and licensed. Many of these submissions outline the many benefits of the electric car, and this submission is no different. The electric car is cleaner, quieter, safer, and more reliable. Regardless of opinion on how clean our electricity in Australia is to power electric cars, there's no doubt that it is at least locally generated, which is more than can be said for the internal combustion engine vehicle, which relies heavily on imported fuel and getting more dependent with each passing year. And despite the heavy coal in the mix to generate our power, an electric vehicle will still produce less emissions per kilometre than a petrol or diesel-powered car. Furthermore, over the lifetime of an electric vehicle, it will still produce less emissions even after taking into account the manufacture of the battery. Certainly, there is the potential that the electricity used to power an electric car can come from 100% renewable sources, making it a true zero-emissions car. With time, electricity will get cleaner and cheaper with decentralised generation, utilising sources such as rooftop solar. It's been shown time and time again that it is at least 2 to 3 times cheaper per kilometre to run an electric car against using petrol for an internal combustion engine vehicle. This then leads us to the multi-million-dollar question, where the heck are all the electric cars in Australia? At this point in time, electric car makers are reluctant to enter our market without a predictable and reproducible sales target for these reasons. We currently don't have any emissions standards for our passenger vehicles. Automakers need to charge higher prices for their electric vehicles, which already have a premium on them due to taxes and duties at multiple levels of government, namely federal and state. There are no discounts for the use of low-emission vehicles like in other countries. Our charging infrastructure is sparse for such a physically large nation, and to make matters worse, we don't have a national standard for charging plugs and sockets. The Australian Electric Vehicle Association has outlined a list of recommendations to deal with these deficiencies in our electric vehicle industry. Firstly, there is a need to introduce strict emission regulations on all new passenger vehicles. Australia risks being a dumping ground for inefficient internal combustion engine vehicles if this doesn't happen. We need to encourage the manufacture of electric vehicles and their components in this country. Australia has a long and proud history of automobile manufacturing, which is at risk of being lost forever if nothing is done to preserve this knowledge. Electric cars are technically easier to build and require less intensive facilities with the use of automation. It should be mandatory for government vehicle fleets to use electric cars. There would be a substantial saving on running and maintenance costs. This is a good way of bringing electric vehicles onto the second-hand market. The charging infrastructure needs to be better, especially on our major roads and highways. Our federal government needs to support the leadership already shown by the RAC of WA, the Queensland Government and the NRMA. There needs to be a national standard for charging plugs and sockets, preferably the CCS2 for DC fast charging. There needs to be thought given towards a lithium collection and recycling program. Consideration could be given towards easing the current restrictions on the private importation of right-hand drive vehicles, which might help bring in more electric vehicles from other markets. The fuel excise can be maintained for petrol-powered cars to discourage the purchase of those type of cars, while we transition towards a usage or distance-based levy to capture electric vehicles. Taxation reform around the running costs of electric vehicle usage needs to occur. Currently, tax arrangements only apply to liquid fuels, service and upkeep of internal combustion engine vehicles. There is confusion around whether electricity can be claimed as a legitimate business or work expense for electric vehicles. The luxury car tax needs to be removed from all electric vehicle purchases. EVs are already more expensive than their equivalent ICE cars. The luxury car tax unnecessarily makes an expensive electric car even more expensive than it should be. Stamp duty should be removed from electric vehicles as a temporary measure as an incentive to purchase these vehicles. Similar measures can be applied for the goods and services tax. We should also encourage the use of electric bicycles as a way to further improve congestion and air quality around urban areas. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that and found that information useful. That's basically the highlights from the submission by the Australian Electric Vehicle Association to the Senate's Select Committee on Electric Vehicles. As I've said, these submissions are publicly available through the Australian Parliament website. I'll place the link for this in the description below. I hope it's a lovely day wherever you are in this world, and as always, happy charging. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being part of the energy revolution. If you haven't done so already, be sure to hit subscribe to keep up to date with our latest videos. If you're about to buy a Tesla, use our promo code on screen to score $100 in supercharging credit. Happy charging!